Hi, welcome to Freezer Meals 101. I'm Charla.
And I'm Christy, and today we're going to talk about a week of family freezer meals.
These are all family friendly. We think that probably most of your kids would be willing to eat these, but they're definitely sort of along those lines of like comfort food, just easy weeknight meals.
Now, warning, there are some vegetables going to happen here. So if you know that that's out for your kids, then maybe you want to look at a different video that we sneak the vegetables in.
Yes, we have a
kid friendly. Yes.
And so you can check that out. But if this is not for you or for your picky kids, but these are kind of just some of your family classics.
Yeah, they really
classics.
Are. They totally are. And a really good variety. It's not just all soup, and it's not all casseroles. We got a little bit of everything here for you today.
But when we're compiling this, we're also thinking about your time, and we want this to be able to be really fast for you to put these together. We want to kind of have some of these are like the whole meal, so that you don't have to think about anything on that day. You don't have to worry about sides. There are a few that you might have to have sides for, but you know what I mean? We're really thinking about you today.
That's right. And I will tell you that this would be a great way to showcase the use of our club. We have a membership club. We don't talk about it all the time, but we have one and we love it.
And the people in it
love it too. The people in it love it. And I'm going to tell you about it right now. It's called the Freezer Meals 101 Club. And it's a yearly subscription. But let me tell you, you are going to save so much money that it's going to be like the best money that you spent in 2023. We've got over 200 recipes in there. We add more every month. There is a wild variety, not just a wide variety, but a wild variety.
Yes, there is.
It's kind of got everything. It's got a filter. You can sort it by your protein or by your diet. Say you need gluten-free things. You can
Cooking method,
kid-friendly. There's keywords you could use. You could come up with a meal plan for your family that you know that they are going to love. And then it will create a shopping list for you. It'll create a prep list for you. And bam, you can assemble these meals
and printable labels
in no time. And then we have printable labels that you can just attach right on there. It's got the cooking instructions right on the bag. They freeze nicely. The ink doesn't seem to run. They seem to hold up. And then you will be freezer meal people just like us.
And the best part about freezer meals is, yes, it saves money and yes, it saves a lot of time. But the best part of freezer meals is the mental space. Like, you don't have to think about what am I going to make today? Oh no, I have to run to the grocery store. Like, it's all that mental space. And we just take that away from you and you don't have to think about that again. And that is the best part. So this today is sort of like a bit of a foray into if you had the club and you could just click on the recipes you wanted and print your shopping list and just have it ready to go. And
then you can shop from your freezer every morning like we do.
And it's awesome.
It is really awesome. It is really awesome. So we should get into some of the recipes.
And I will just say one more thing.
I'm
always saying one more thing, but this is just one more thing. We would suggest that you double each of these so that you don't just end up with 1 week of meals, you end up with 2. The first recipe that we're going to do is a chili glazed chicken. For this one, you will need side dishes. Sorry about that, but the flavor is all there and it's so fast to put together. I would say 3 to 5 minutes to put this together and your main protein for your dinner is totally done. In your freezer bag, you're going to put 3 to 5 chicken breasts or 8 to 10 chicken thighs, some chili powder, cumin, balsamic vinegar, some honey that's been melted, and a little tiny bit of chicken broth. That's it. You're going to squish those ingredients together. Get out as much of the extra air as you can before you seal the bag, because when you're freezer cooking, air is what causes your freezer burn. So we always avoid that by getting the air out of the bags. And then you're gonna lay it flat and put it in your freezer. When you go to cook this, you thaw it and you can cook it in your oven for 50 minutes at 350, or in your slow cooker. Like if you know that you've got errands that day, or you have to work that day, or it's just gonna be really busy and you wanna be able to not have to think about this again, you can pop it in your slow cooker before you head out, or you can cook it in a skillet on your stovetop, which takes very little time, like 20 to 25 minutes, and it's fully cooked. You can serve this with a side of rice or potatoes and some vegetables, or a side salad. Whatever you normally do for your side dishes, this would go nicely with. You could even, what would you do?
Well, Charla.
Christy's better at sides than I am.
I don't know about that, but I did make it on the weekend because I had company and I was serving it, and she is a member of the club. I have another best friend. Her name is Anne-Marie, and she lives in Saskatoon. And so she came and saw me for the weekend, and we had supper one night, and I made the chili glazed chicken, and we had it with rice, and I think I made an Asian salad to go with it.
That
like
would be good.
A salad kit. I was not being fancy. So here was the thing. She is a member of the club. And she said, I've looked at this one and I've wondered how spicy it is, because we can't do spice at our house, and it's called chili glazed and there's chili powder in it, but is it spicy? And she was so glad to get to try it and realized, it didn't really have that much of a kick at all. Chili powder, it has warmth, but I wouldn't say it has heat.
No.
But she was just a little scared off by it. She isn't great at trying new things, so she was so glad to come to my house and try this chili glazed chicken.
And now she'll put it in
her
repertoire.
And now she will put it in her repertoire. And get this, her husband doesn't eat cheese.
Oh, that would kill me.
And
not really.
But when the whole family was coming, I was trying to think about what I was going to make that didn't have cheese in it. So this is one of the things I had picked. And then in the end, their daughter had something to do, and so he stayed behind with their daughter, and she just came with her son. And this was a hit. It really was a hit. It was delicious. And so yeah, we just had, I think I had white basmati rice.
Yeah.
We've been doing different rice things at our house because my husband has suddenly become picky about rice.
Okay. Well, you never know.
You don't know. So that's what we're doing at our house, is we're doing a lot of basmati lately.
Now, when you're doing freezer cooking, it's always faster if you use like proteins at the same time. So while you've got your bags open and you're filling them with your chicken, what you're gonna do is you're gonna open another bag.
Or two.
Or two if you're doubling these, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna fill that with chicken as well. And what are you gonna do with it?
We are going to make honey sesame chicken. So you start out with your chicken thighs in the bag. We're going to add in some honey, some soy sauce, some garlic, ketchup, brown sugar, rice, wine, vinegar, some ginger. Now listen, we like the squeezy tube ginger. It is fresh, and we use enough of it that we can go through one of those suckers pretty quick. And you don't have to spend the time grating it. So we do like to use the squeezy tube ginger. Some sesame oil, a little bit of sriracha, so depending on how much you like the heat, you could do 2 teaspoons, or just 1 if you're, just regular heat people.
Or skip it all together.
Or skip it all together if you are Anne-Marie, and that's fair. So again, we're gonna squish these all around in our freezer bag. We're gonna get all the air out, and we're gonna seal these up. So when you go to cook this, you are going to do it in your skillet. You're gonna let it thaw. Put it in your nice big skillet. Now, it is fairly saucy. We have put a lot of liquid in there, so you do want to add a little bit of cornstarch. So just a couple of teaspoons or a tablespoon of cornstarch in a little bit of water, cold water, and put it in there and let that thicken up for a few minutes so you can get the cornstarchy taste out before you serve it. You can sprinkle it with a bit of sesame seeds or some green onions for garnish. And one time I made this and the chili glazed chicken together because we had company where there was a lot of us, and I thought I only had one of each in the freezer, and I thought I could make the rice. They would both go well with the rice. They would both go well with an Asian flair. So I just did both, and then we had to discuss which one was better, and it was a pretty even tie, I'll tell you.
They're good.
They are both really, really good.
And with the honey sesame chicken being kind of Asian inspired flavors in there, I mean, other than the ketchup, but that's a bit of a, one-off. But it would go nicely with rice again, but also with some steamed broccoli, or even a fried rice, like a vegetable fried rice on the side.
Or noodles.
Fried rice freezes really beautifully.
Yeah, it does.
So if you have that in your freezer, you can pull that out and serve it with. So yeah,
totally. You can skip ordering Chinese and just do it out of your freezer.
We had a comment recently.
Yes, we did. It was about that.
Yes, that said this is better than this
Chinese
recipe.
food.
What recipe was that? Oh, it's gonna bug me.
We might have to go back and find it.
I can't remember.
We'll let you know. We'll let you know. You're right. We could skip Chinese food. Ginger beef?
Yes, it might have been.
It might have been
the
ginger
beef.
beef strips.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So, okay, here's the other thing about the club. They are taste tested. They have been run through the gamut. We have done them all here in our test kitchen, which isn't Charla's house. And if they are not tasty to both of us,
and I'm pretty picky,
and
so.
she's very picky. She has the palate. I don't have the palate. I'm a texture person. If it passes the test, it gets to go in the club. So let me tell you, if it's in the club, it's going to taste good. That doesn't mean that it's for everybody's taste. There are people that can't do the sesame. There are people that can't do the cilantro or whatever. But they do taste good. They're really, and they freeze well. They've been tested for that, so you don't need to worry about those sorts of things.
That's the biggest thing.
Be bold and try the chili chicken.
Try the chili glazed chicken, just like Anne-Marie is going to now. I think sometimes that is the thing, that people aren't sure if they want to try a new recipe. We've had several people, especially about chicken hurry and the beef stroganoff. Mm-hmm. They have said to us,
they looked at the ingredients and said, ugh.
Yeah.
But
they're like, we decided to trust you.
And they're glad they did, especially the beef stroganoff. It's gray. It is not pleasant to look at, but it is so delicious.
It's so good. We have a mega session coming up where we do over 100 meals over the course of 2 days, and then it lasts us for 3 months, both of our families.
Yeah.
And in this planning that I'm doing for this mega session, I don't have ground beef stroganoff because we're doing a ground chicken stroganoff, which is a very different recipe.
Very weird, right?
And I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. Like, I'm really going to miss having that ground beef stroganoff.
I just made one on the side the other day,
and we might
because we were out.
Yeah.
I had made it for my friend, and then I discovered she was gluten-free. My friend has cancer, and so I was making her some meals, and so I didn't ask her first. I guess we're not that close. I didn't know she was gluten-free. And so she's like, I can't have gluten. So there went anything that had the mushroom soup in it. So I got to keep my beef stroganoff.
Oh, you are lucky.
I am lucky.
I'm totally out in my freezer
But I gave her my lasagna soup, which was a very precious thing to give away.
It is so good.
I care about her a lot.
You must love her if you gave her lasagna soup.
Not terrible.
It's true, though.
We can make more lasagna soup. It's okay.
Yes, we can.
I can make beef stroganoff whenever I want.
Either. Do you want me to add that to the list?
It'll be okay. I'll make my own.
Okay. So now that we've done our 2 or 4 chicken recipes, we're gonna transition over to some ground beef meals. Mm-hmm. Okay. Because again, if you're taking out the ground beef and you're gonna prep it and brown it all, actually we recommend that you brown it on a cookie sheet if you're doing multiple meals at one time, so that you can brown a whole big bunch at one time. We just line it with foil, bake it in the oven, break it up a few times throughout with our
You can do it overnight in your slow cooker too.
Yes, you can.
Or in your Instant Pot.
Yep. So if you're doing big batch cooking like this, then brown a whole bunch at one time.
There's ways.
And we have a video about some prep ideas and how to batch cook, batch prep your stuff.
And in the club, we have videos very specifically about how to prep things ahead of time.
Nice little short videos.
Yeah, little short videos that are just total tips from us.
Yeah, so now that you've got your ground beef prepped, you're going to get to some really family-friendly ground beef meals. So the first one that we're going to do is beef hash. This is kind of a staple with our family.
We've been doing it for years.
Yes.
Years and years and years.
It's It's simple. It
It's
doesn't have,
kind of a full meal. It's not. I don't always make a side with this one
No.
because it's casserole-ish. There's not a ton of vegetables in it. There's some onion in it, but it is kind of a staple, and it's an easy one that you know your family will eat.
It's kind of bland and plain, and that's on purpose.
There's a time and a place for that.
If you've got kids who, you know, don't really have the palates to
Get exciting.
Yeah, this is it's a little boring, but
It still tastes good.
it tastes good, and it's sort of tried and true, and just like we said, family friendly. So for your beef hash, you're gonna put your cooked ground beef in your freezer bag. Then you're gonna add half a bag of frozen hash browns. And here is when I'm gonna jump in again and suggest that you make 2 of these, because why not use the full bag of hash browns and put half in one and half in the other, and then you'll have 2 meals. This is, you know, just
Kind of common
economical
sense.
and
It's economical.
all the things.
Yeah.
So then you're gonna add some minced onion, some dry onion soup mix. We buy ours in bulk, and 3 tablespoons is equivalent to a packet of dry onion soup mix. And then you're gonna add some beef broth and a little bit of pepper. You're gonna squish all of that together to combine, remove the excess air, and seal it. And then you're gonna put some shredded cheddar cheese in a medium-sized freezer bag. You're gonna seal that, and then you're gonna staple the bags together above the seal and freeze it. On the day that you cook it, you can cook it either in the slow cooker or in the oven. I do recommend that if you cook it in the slow cooker, you use a crock pot liner, because this is one that really sticks.
It does really stick.
And between the potatoes and the cheese on top,
Yeah.
it just really sticks. And so I don't love scrubbing out the slow cooker after this one, so I don't use my crock pot liners for everything by not
Any means,
no.
no.
I rarely use them, but this is one that always
They're lifesavers.
Yes,
Yeah.
always gets used for this recipe. So, and either way, you're gonna top it with that cheese that's in your bag, so you already have everything ready to go, and you're gonna either put it in the oven or slow cooker. And then my kids like to have this with ketchup, or hot sauce.
Yeah, we do ketchup or hot sauce on ours, for sure. So, since you are already making some ground beef and you're going to cook it up, why don't you try this recipe? This is tater tot casserole with beef and veggies. I did say that there were veggies coming, so sorry kids, but family friendly, not necessarily kid friendly. Depends on your kids, right? Some kids love vegetables.
My kids will eat tater tots with pretty much anything.
They really will. This one, I've started out with a smaller bowl. I added in my mushroom soup and my evaporated milk, and I get that nice and incorporated. Then I add in my onion and my mixed vegetables and garlic, and then my spices, my mustard powder and my salt and pepper. Then I add in the beef, and then I think, wait a minute, I'm not going to get my tater tots in these, and so I put it all in a bigger bowl. So my advice to you is, you should put this in a big bowl. You can mix all those little things in the big bowl. And then I added in my tater tots, and I mixed it around really well so they're well coated. I transferred everything into a bag. I squeezed out as much air as I could and sealed it up. And then I added cheese into a medium quart-sized freezer bag, and then I added the label. For the cooking of this one, you just really need to get this thawed enough to make it malleable. You can do it in your slow cooker. Again, probably a good idea to use a slow cooker liner for this one, because the potatoes, the starch in it, they just stick right to the side. Even in a casserole dish, this one is a little bit, you want to soak this one before you wash your dish. You can put it in your slow cooker for those days that you are out and about, or if you're working and you just don't have time to throw things together, and you put the cheese on near the end and let it melt, and then you can serve it. And you don't need to make a side because it has the vegetables, it has the starch. This is a complete meal. Now for the oven cooking, you do want to have it maybe a little bit more thawed, because really you're gonna put cheese on this, you're gonna throw it in your oven at 400 for 30 minutes. This is something that you can feed to your kids between school and soccer, and you can get out the door in 30 minutes. It can happen, people.
Yeah, it's just, you say tater tots and kids are gonna eat it.
They're
right?
gonna eat it.
Like,
you throw some cheese on it.
That's my experience.
It's like putting bacon on everything. Like, they'll just eat it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now that we've got our ground beef out still, and we have so much ground beef made ahead and browned, we're just gonna make another ground beef recipe. But this one is very different from those ones that had the potatoes, and it's just family-friendly classic of sloppy joes. So in our large freezer bag, the large freezer bags are the gallon size, and the medium ones are the quart size. So when I say large freezer bag, I'm sorry, I mean the gallon freezer bag. So in your gallon freezer bag, you're going to add your ground beef, some onions that are minced. Now we also used minced onion in the beef hash, and in the tater tot casserole. So it's just like, again, if you're gonna be chopping one onion, you might as well chop 3. It doesn't take a whole lot more time. Plus we use a chopping gadget that helps make it even faster.
When we're doing our mega meals.
Yes.
If I'm just doing a few, I will hand chop them. But to do, sometimes we're talking 40 cups of onions.
Yes.
I cheat. I use a chopper, and I am A-okay with that. I sleep good.
Absolutely. So in your bag, you've got your ground beef, your finely chopped onion, and some garlic. And then you're gonna add some green pepper that's been chopped. If you know your kids absolutely will not eat green pepper, then obviously skip that part. Some salt, pepper, dry mustard powder, chili sauce, tomato sauce, ketchup, brown sugar, Worcestershire sauce, and lemon juice. You're gonna squish all of that to combine and freeze it. Oh, seal it, of course. And then on the day that you go to cook this, you can either cook it in your slow cooker, again, if you're busy and out and about, or you can cook it on the stovetop in a pot or skillet. You're just really reheating it because you're letting the onion get a little bit softer, but your ground beef is already cooked. So this is just a reheat, and you're gonna serve this on buns. So this is the only one where you really do have to go to the store and pick up one thing, which is the buns, or you can freeze buns. So if you have some in your freezer, you can, serve this on your bun halves. And then you have easy peasy sloppy joes.
Awesome. And they are always a hit.
Yeah, I think it's the name. I remember having sloppy joes when I was a kid.
Oh,
it's just such a classic, right?
I don't. I do not remember having sloppy joes.
You were a meat and potatoes family.
We were a meat and potatoes family. And my mom would make chili, which was similar. But I've told you before, my mom would put chili on spaghetti instead of a spaghetti sauce. And you were like,
I don't understand.
It was just normal growing up that's just what we did with our spaghetti. We had chili on it. Made sense to me. And to me, just chili on a bun was like, but what about the spaghetti? It was
so weird.
So weird. And sometimes, and I just told you this the other day, and you were like, what? Sometimes we would just eat ground beef. We grew up on a mixed farm, so we had beef cattle on our farm, and so we had beef 3 times a week, probably, and loads of ground beef in our freezer. And so some days, my mom was a stay-at-home mom until I was about 13, and she cooked 3 meals a day. She still does. She loves to cook. And we would just have ground beef and boiled potatoes and garden peas, and that was supper. But we always had dessert, and sometimes it was like canned fruit, canned raspberries. It was juice, like on ice cream, or just canned peaches or canned crab apples, and the stems and everything, and it was messy, and it didn't matter. Oh my goodness. I grew up so nice. It was such a nice way to grow up.
You did have a nice childhood.
I really did have a nice childhood. And I never learned to can. I just never caught the bug, and I don't care, and it's okay. I do freezer meals. Okay. I do freezer meals instead.
And you do so many other things, and you garden, and and Christy has started a worm farm.
I've started a worm farm! It's called vermiculture, and I made a video about it. because compost is related to gardening, and gardening is related to cooking, and we're a cooking show. So we're like, let's throw in the thing about the worms. And so they eat the food. It is interesting. And it's not for everybody, but I'm doing it inside. We live in Alberta. I can't have worms outside and minus 40. So it's in a closet just close to my kitchen. And I put in my food scraps, and they will make more worms, and then they will poop. And then and then those worm castings make really great compost. They'll go in my houseplants, they'll go in my garden, which has shrunk a lot over the years because I'm busy. But they're healthy, and it's a good thing to do, and I've kind of always wanted to do it.
And we've always been pretty, like, both of our families, good about composting, recycling, and all that kind of stuff. And so it's just kind of a natural progression, right?
Totally. And it's something to try out. And I got worms from a lady who has been doing them for 15 years.
That's really cool.
It is really cool. And they're just in her garage, and they're in a tub, and she showed me her setup, and she gave me a book, and I'm reading the book, and it's good. It's been really fun. So we digressed a bit. I apologize. We're going to get to the next meal here. This is corn chowder. We make this almost every mega meal session, and we love it so much we make, like, we triple it or quadruple it. We go home with 4 each.
Yeah.
Because it's so good. My favorite way to eat this, honestly, is with a baking powder biscuit. And it's got the bacon drippings in it, and they're good. And sometimes we make cheese ones or chive ones. This is a bacon powder biscuit soup, for sure. I'm going to preface this and say this is a little bit of a tricky one, because if you don't have a friend to help you, you need to prop this up with something. So you can use a big Ziploc container to put the bag in, or maybe a juice jug to hold the bag up, because it gets very tipsy on you as you're putting this together. What we often do is make it in a huge, Charlotte's got like the second biggest Tupperware bowl that exists, and we can make it in that, and then we just ladle it out into the bags. But if you're just making a couple, we just do it right in the bags, and it works just fine. So we start out with our onion that has been chopped, some kernel corn, some cream corn, evaporated milk, cream of mushroom soup, some crumbled bacon, because hello, crumbled bacon. And then at the end, we add in the chicken broth, because at this point, it's going to start tipping on you. And for the cooking instructions on this guy, boy, it is soup. So you just want to heat it up until your onions are tender and it's at a temperature you like, because it is the easiest soup that you could possibly make. It's fast, everybody likes it. And it is a corn chowder. It's not a seafood chowder. Everybody will eat it. There isn't anything in here that...
No, I mean, as long as you can eat corn, really. Mm-hmm. It does have gluten because of the mushroom soup, but there are alternatives, because you can make homemade cream of mushroom soup that doesn't have gluten. So even if you're gluten-free, there is a way to make this recipe, and you can cook it in the slow cooker or on the stovetop, and really, it's fast.
It's fast. It's just a heat and go. You can omit the bacon if you want to make it vegetarian. Mm-hmm. It's just so fast. And it's something... Honestly, these are things I have in my cupboard.
Right.
It's an easy one to just, if you think of it, to throw together too.
So that is 6 meals, and there are 7 days a week, but you could have leftovers on. What we do is we do like a leftover buffet.
We do that too.
And so
today's leftover day, and I lay it all out, and you pick it up and you microwave it.
Yeah, just, or you could do just you could do leftover soup for that last day. And so what I do is I take our leftovers and make them into a soup, because then if you even have 1 chicken breast left, then you can take that chicken breast and cube it really fine and take all the sauce that was with it. So like that chili glazed chicken.
That would be a good one.
Would work really well. Even the honey sesame chicken would work. And then you're gonna every little drop of that sauce, and you add it into your pot, and then I add some onion, some diced carrots, chicken broth. Like, it depends on what the flavor of the chicken was, what I add to it, because sometimes I'll add diced tomatoes. Sometimes I do a can of condensed tomato soup.
Yeah.
So it really depends. If it's like a curried one, then I always add rice, because sometimes there's leftover rice, and peas, because you had peas on the side.
Yes.
So like whatever it is you had left over, right? You add it in.
Yeah.
And then I'll add like some extra curry powder and some coconut milk to that one, if it's sort of like that Thai inspired, you know, whatever. You just get creative, and you can make a leftover soup for that 7th day.
And that's another meal. And that's a way to stretch your dollar, right?
Yes.
Groceries are expensive. And so having the club helps because you can catch sales. If you see a case lot sale and you think, oh, this evaporated milk is normally like, you know, it's $25 for a case.
Yeah.
It's expensive, but I can get it for 15% off, or I can get a case lot sale where it's, you know, $15. You get that and you store it until you're ready to make your meals. There are ways to use this club to your advantage. We have group members. We have one lady that broke it down and she was saving $200 a month. A month.
Yeah, I would say our average savings is $200 a month, not including the saving on the drive-through and all of that, for a family of 4.
Mm-hmm.
More if you have a larger family like we do, less if you're on your own. But over the course of a year, that adds up so much. But then if you factor in like the not going through to the drive-through, not ordering pizza, not getting the convenience food, and all
you
the
can still do those
things.
things. We had pizza last week because there are days you of course order pizza.
Well, you might just feel like
because we felt like pizza,
and you have the money to do it because you saved so
because
much
you saved
on
so
your
much
freezer
on the club.
meals.
I know,
and you're not having to like do those impulse decisions about, oh my goodness, I didn't plan out suppers, so we're gonna have to like impulsively do a drive-through or impulsively, you know. So then you can actually like choose to do a pizza night or choose to go out for dinner.
Yeah.
Because it's not like this panic feeling, right?
Yeah, that's right. No, we really recommend the club, but we really recommend the club. It is just a lifesaver for so many people. Individuals who are just cooking for yourself or for a couple. You eat a lot of leftovers because it's hard to go from cooking for a family to cooking for 1 or 2. With the club, it's scalable. You can drop it down right in there to make it for 2 servings, or you can still make a regular serving and make 3 or 4 recipes just portion it out, and then you have a variety to pick from out of your freezer. So freezer meals, they are good for families, they are good for individuals and couples, they're good for college students, they're good for busy moms, they're good for your dad that doesn't cook and he just has to throw stuff in the microwave. But they really are for everybody, and we just want to see you succeed in the kitchen, and I want you to take dinner time back because they have to eat.
It's exhausting.
It's exhausting.
Like, I'm a mom of 7, and oh my goodness, they are hungry.
They are hungry people. They are hungry kids. They are hungry people. So we do feed our kids out of our freezer almost every single day, multiple times a week, and this is so far the best way to do it. It really is. It
has just transformed our life, which is why we feel passionate about helping other people do it, because we used to be those frazzled moms, and I'm still frazzled about other things. But
it's never
feeding
about
my family,
what's for supper.
No, is not anything that ever causes me any degree of stress. And even when we have, you know, kids who have surgeries or kids who are things going on, we've got out of town company that's been here this week, and like and Christy just had out of town company.
Out of town company
doesn't stress me at all. In fact, like I was, it's our son and his fiance that are visiting from out of town. Our oldest son, they're out of province actually, and one night I had planned to make, you know, I'd pulled a freezer meal out, and then I was like, you know, actually we're gonna have a board game night, and so I pulled a bunch of appetizers out because we also make appetizers for the freezer.
Totally.
And we just had this really fun night with
now you're having a party.
It was great. And so this is a way that you can really take the stress out of dinner every day.
Every day, every day.
So check it out below. We also have links in the description of the video, we have links for these recipes so that you can go and just try one even. Just try the recipe, double it, have one tonight and have one in your freezer. And then next week when you are stressed and you go and pull that out and feel the freedom that is.
It's addicting.
Yes.
We start to stress out when our freezer is getting low. And we have a mega meal session coming up. So we are trying to like finish things up in our freezer, but we have to make it for the rest of the month because it's not till early next month. And so it's this balance. So I need room in my freezer, but we need to eat these up. But can we make them last all the way? Because if there's none left, it's
stressful. We're not used to having to cook every day like most people
like peasants.
do, right?
I say that, but I'm joking. Yeah. So give these a try. Check out the club. We'd love to see you.
We appreciate you being here today. We hope that we've given you some tips that will help you make dinner time easier at your house. We're going to put a video right there to some family favorite freezer meals, and that video includes a free printable PDF with a shopping list, your labels, your recipes, and your prep list, so that it really, really takes the guesswork out of it for you and makes it super simple. So you can check that out. And thank you for joining us today. Happy cooking.
See you next time.